the logistics in the kingdom of God. Just in times in contrast to just in case. The parable of the vineyard and tenants, Matthew chapter 21, 33 to 43. Matthew chapter 21, 43. Therefore I say to you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to people that will produce its fruit. Let's interpret from the logistics in the kingdom of God and see how we can apply this parable in the logistics in the kingdom of God. The concept of just in times and just in case. Just in times, being prepared and acting at the opportune moment, meeting needs as they arise. Understanding the timing of God's kingdom and acting in accordance with His will when opportunities to produce fruit present themselves. Just in case approach. Preparing in advance for potential needs or challenges. Living a life consistent with the teachings of the kingdom of God. Cultivating the fruits of the Spirit continuously so we are ready whenever the need arises. Let us say the ways we can produce fruit in the logistics of the kingdom of God. The first, stewardship and responsibility. The kingdom of God represents God's reign and presence in the lives of individuals and communities. We as stewards are entrusted with the responsibility to cultivate and bear fruit in the spiritual kingdom. Just as a farmer tends to his land to produce a harvest, we are called to nurture and grow the fruits of love, compassion, kindness, and righteousness in our lives. Productivity and contribution. Producing fruit in the kingdom of God implies an active and fruitful participation in God's work. Each of us is called to contribute positively to the world around us. This can be through acts of charity, kindness, teaching, sharing, and overall leading a life in alignment with God's values and teachings. Timeliness and readiness. The mention of in their own times emphasizes the importance of being ready and productive in our appointed season. We should not procrastinate or delay in doing good and fulfilling our purpose within the kingdom of God. It encourages us to use our time, talents, and opportunities wisely and fruitfully. Accountability and faithfulness. The warning of the kingdom being taken away and given to others serves as a reminder of our accountability before God. We should remain faithful and diligent in producing the fruits of the Spirit, recognizing that God expects us to bear fruit in accordance with His will. This parable of the vineyard and tenants challenges us to be active participants in God's kingdom, acknowledging our responsibility and to produce the fruits of love, goodness, and righteousness. It urges us to be timely, productive, and faithful stewards of the blessings and opportunities that God has given us. May we always be prepared to yield a rich harvest in the kingdom of God, reflecting His love and glory through our lives. Is it just in time or is it just in case? The interpretation of the parable Matthew chapter 21, 33 to 43, the landowner and the tenants. The landowner represents God. The vineyard symbolizes the kingdom of God. The tenants or the religious leaders are those entrusted with the responsibility of nurturing and caring for the kingdom. And we know the context. Jesus is in Jerusalem facing challenges because of his new teaching, and he spoke and preached with authority. The servants are the prophets and messengers sent by God throughout the history of salvation. The Son is Jesus Christ. Therefore, I say to you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to people that will produce its fruit. Matthew chapter 21:43. The just-in-time approach. Being responsive to God's call. Actively listen for God's direction and promptly respond when opportunities to bear fruit, like acts of kindness, forgiveness, love, that are present in producing fruit. Engaging with others. Seize the moment to share the gospel, offer comfort, or help those in need when the opportunity arises. Just-in-case approach. Consistent in spiritual growth. Cultivate a life of prayer, Bible study, and attend the services on Sundays and whenever the opportunity arises. Nurturing the fruits of Spirit daily to be prepared for any circumstances or encounter. Building a foundation of faith. Develop a strong spiritual foundation through regular engagement with scriptures, fellowship, and worship to guide your actions in any situation. God desires to be both proactive and responsive in producing the fruits of His kingdom. We must be spiritually always prepared just in case, while also be attentive to the specific moments and opportunities that call for the expression of God's love and grace just in times. By embracing both approaches, we live a life that glorifies God and contributes to the growth of His kingdom. The logistics in the kingdom of God, just in times or just in case, that calls us to be responsive to God's call, to engage with others, to have a consistent spiritual growth, and to build a foundation of faith. Matthew chapter 21, verse 43. Therefore I say to you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a people that will produce its fruit.